All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Q7 Overland build install video. I'm gonna wait for this plane to quit flying by. And as you can tell by the title of today's video, we're gonna be getting the Q7 just a little bit more off the ground finally, as I have received our lift kit from our good pals at Darkside Developments. Now, I know any of you that have looked into doing any sort of an overland build on your Q7 or your Touareg have definitely looked at all the different kits, or I guess the 2 or 3 out there that exist, maybe including the Darkside one, and have probably considered going with somebody else other than Darkside, but this kit actually might be quite a bit easier to install than any of the other kits out there, because we don't actually have to separate any of the struts or anything, which might lead you to believe that this is a little bit more of kind of like a spacer setup. But we're gonna go ahead and install it and see kind of how it stacks up as far as a lift kit goes. We've got lots of different parts in the kit here. We're gonna kind of just pull them all out of the box, and we're gonna talk about individually what we've got here, because I have previously unboxed this, and we'll go over everything that we got here. We've got some subframe spacers, we've got strut spacers, we've got washers, bolts, everything that you're gonna need to do this install. We're not gonna be reusing absolutely anything, which I think is also another big win for this kit, is it supplies you with every single nut, bolt, washer, lock nut, everything that you'll need, including these ginormous replacement bolts, which are 10.9 grade. But anyways, I'll stop blabbing about what's in here and we'll pull it out of the box and you can have a look at it. So let's go over everything that we have, and I'm gonna start with the obvious things because I probably can't remember right off the top of my head what everything is. But first things first, we have the strut spacers. So these obviously are gonna go on the strut at the very bottom to give us a little bit of lift on the bottom end by pushing the bolt down just a little bit, reinforced in the back and on the sides as well, to make sure that these aren't gonna bend. Now, there are some companies that supply just these as like reinforcements for the bottom of the struts on the Q7s and I believe the Touaregs, because this used to be a weak point on the earlier Q7s and Touaregs because the thickness of the strut fork on the bottom that attaches to the lower control arms, they used to bend. So 2 birds stoned at once kind of situation here. So we got those. Next, I believe these are our front subframe spacers. These are made of aluminum, I believe. These are nice and thick, about the size of a little bit bigger than a hockey puck for us Canadians out there that understand how big those are. Spacers for the front struts at the top, which are these 6 right here. So these go kind of in our triangular pattern like this, being the body side, being the wheel side. And I'm a little bit out of frame here, but those are those, 1 set each. Next, we have the rear spacers for the subframe, I believe, and I could be wrong because these could be the rear subframe spacers and these could be them. They're both the same thickness, just one is a little bit wider. I'll label which one on screen is the subframe and which one is the strut, but either or, one or the other. Now we have a couple bolts here to talk about. So we have 2 OE front bolts. I believe these are for the lower bit of the front struts on each side. And then we have 2 or 4 more front and rear bolts. Or no, sorry, I can't remember. Anyways, a bunch of bolts. These are for the various suspension components that we're going to be replacing. But everything appears to be here. I'm not entirely sure what all of these are for because they're not exactly in the kit online, it doesn't look like. So yeah, not going to worry about those. But we've got everything else. So let's measure and see how tall the Q7 is before we lift it, because obviously a before and after is very important. So we're going to go from the center of the center cap here. Get you guys zoomed in a little bit so you can at least see that I'm not lying, if you can even read it. Okay, so right now we are just below 86 centimeters, so 85.5 centimeters it looks like, roughly. 85.5 centimeters, just below 34 inches in the front. And then I'm gonna walk away and go measure over here. And we're actually higher in the rear, which is, I guess, the fender arches, and in the rear we're looking at about 87 centimeters, 34.25 inches. Okay, let's frickin' do this. I don't know how difficult this is gonna be. I have not looked at any instructions or anything. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna send it. So here we go. First step, jack up your car. get my key out so I can get my Porsche wheels off, because I'm a poser. I'm using my snap-on impact because I'm an even bigger poser. First step done. So we're actually gonna have to go ahead and remove, on the Q7 specifically, the plenum chamber cover, which is your like rain cowl thing, because the 2 bolts that are accessible on the furthest to the front of the vehicle are easy enough to get to that we don't have to move pretty much anything other than maybe the intake on this side. But on the back, it's underneath the ECU, and on that side, it's next to the brake booster. So you have to pull this off, which means the wipers have to come off again, which in hindsight, this is gonna be so fun. Just gonna not bother taking the driver's side one fully off, just so I have enough space to get in here. Okay, so this one, we should be able to get just with some extensions. This one's probably gonna be the problem because the brake booster is nice and in the way, but we'll give it a go. Yeah, we should be able to get in there too. And I'm gonna bring Jack over here in a second. That's gonna be my lucky day. This is gonna be a 16 mil, isn't it? Of course it is. A 16 mil that I don't have right here. Okay, hold on. The socket on there, like that. There we go. 3 of the top bolts are out, just like that. Yeehaw. Now, I'll lower you guys down here. Actually, I'm probably gonna take you guys off for a second because we're figuring this out as we go, as per usual. We're gonna take this guy off and we're gonna undo the main one down here on the bottom of the strut, which should give us the ability to lower it enough to at least put the spacers in. And just for reference, for the bolt that goes through the strut on the bottom there, 21 on both sides, gonna use a wrench on one, impact on the other. The lower sway bar link down here is an 18 on both sides. Okay, so the lower one's out, the top 3 bolts are out, and the sway bar link is out. So now we should be able to just drop the coil, but I've got to knock the main bolt out, and if it'll cooperate, which I'm gonna need a punch for, AKA a hammer, and a Phillips head screwdriver. There we go. Perfect. So that did exactly what I needed it to do. So this is actually going to be really easy. So now, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see, we have more than enough space to put the spacers in up here. And then we just need to jack this all back up and then pull the suspension down a little bit to get everything lined back up again. And now I say, hopefully this is going to be as easy as it looks, but always debatable, right, folks? I believe that we need to put these 3 bad boys in there. So I don't really know what the best case of action here is going to be, because obviously I need to line it up by myself. Also put the spacer and the bolt in. So just gonna try and guesstimate a little bit here while we get things lined up. Definitely recommend having a friend help you do this for sure. See if I can't get 2 in there so I can at least have the alignment be good before I start trying to fucking ship it home. One thing I needed to touch on, because I had some help, and I definitely recommend getting some help. You could probably do this on your own, but you're gonna struggle for a long time. With these top spacers, you have to align the bolt through the top into the bottom with the nut that's built into the control arm / strut holder. So you're gonna need someone on the bottom to help you kind of like rotate and guide the whole assembly in order to get those bolts through. And it was kind of hard to show, so I'm filming this after, because my fat ass was in the way most of the time, and it's just a bit of a pain. So you need someone up top and someone down here, if you can get them, to help you just rotate and move this forward and back to get the bolts lined up. And then once you have all 3 in, you can snug it up. And then we will now move on to the lower bit. Okay, so we've got one side in. The only thing I didn't show you guys on this side was how to do the lower bit, and I'll show you once we get on the other side, but I did undo the axle just to try and see if that would help us bring it down, but it didn't. I would use spring compressors on the upper coil just for when you're trying to get that lower bolt in, because you can't really get the lower control arm low enough in order to line up the bolt holes. That was the only thing. Now, as you can see, the axle angle is pretty spicy right now, and that's what the subframe spacers are for, but I can't do that right now. And all the other kits that are out there are like 2.5-inch drops, and they don't recommend doing the spacers until you hit 3, so I think we should be okay for the time being. So there's one side done. Like I said, I'll show you guys how to do it on the other side for that lower bit. But for now, we're gonna put the wheel on, and we'll see what we're cooking with. Nice. Friggin', oh yeah, she's definitely off the ground. 37 or 36 and a half inches. Definitely lifted. Okay, let's do the other side. Okay, so we're gonna show you guys how to put these guys on this side now, because we've got the spring compressors and a lot more real estate to work with the suspension. Okay, so it's kind of dealer's choice what direction you want to put the bolts. I'm putting them so the nuts are on the outside, so there isn't, so there isn't a chance or opportunity for the stud that's coming out the other side to potentially touch the CV axle. It might be a little bit of a pain in the ass to do that, but that's just kind of my thought process there. So the smaller bolts go on the top, and we're just gonna put these in loosely by now. Well, the top and the bottom, and then the larger of the two, or the larger of the two small size bolts will go in the center hole here. So let's get that bottom one in. And there should be a little bit of play back and forth. Now let me grab the bigger one and then put the, I have to go through the back. Yeah, let's put the back in. And these are all, I believe, 13s, if I'm not mistaken. It's like that, and then we're gonna do the other side here, and we'll snug everything up in a sec. Oh, I forgot the lock washers for the bigger of the bolt. So don't forget the lock washers, because that would suck, having something like that come flying out.
Kind of funny.
Would it?
I don't know, for you driving, probably not.
And having the axle taken out also helps with putting these ones in the back too. One more. Are they 13s? So the baby ones are 13s, and the big guys are 14. Oh, that could be a 16 to be honest, yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's also not a 16.
Fuck?
It's a 17. Everyone in my comments later, oh, what's the torque spec? Good and tight.
So you can't do it anymore?
Till I physically can't use my little fucking SpongeBob arms.
Super Weenie Hut Jr.
There we go. So now we're just gonna bolt the rest of this up. Actually, I guess I'll show you guys us struggling to try and get the bolt in. Shout out Darkside for the shirts that I use to work on my car. Honestly, we might not even need to push it down, but we need to get this behind here, and then I need you to push the strut in to the car.
Wait, this behind?
Yeah. Okay, now push this. My hand is a hammer. So much easier with fucking spring compressors. Holy shit.
I wonder why they made spring compressors.
Hey, you know what? I don't like the sass. Okay, very good, very nice. I need you to bring the jack back under here. Actually, hold on. Let's undo the spring compressor. I think that's probably a better idea. Oh, those came out surprisingly easy. All right, you can jack it up a little bit. Keep going. Okay, hold on one sec. Let me just break one of my sensors real quick. ABS is overrated anyways. Okay, you can pull this out of here for now.
Jack?
Yep.
Jack.
Oh, wait, I lied. Okay, I gotta put the axle in, so you guys gotta move, I'm sorry.
Ejected.
Now that is a fucking lift.
6,5 Stunden später.
Okay, so starting on the passenger side, spring compressor is gonna be your best friend because you're gonna wanna obviously get as much play out of the strut as you physically can. Then we've got it on a jack stand. I was supporting it with another jack just underneath on the bottom here. Then we took this bolt out, and that's gonna basically remove the only amount of stress that you're gonna need in order to remove these two bolts and to lower that down. So now we're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side, and then we're gonna lower the whole thing, and I'll show you guys how to put the spacer in. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, yeah, I'll just show you guys putting the spacer in because the other side I'm gonna do the same thing, and then I'll come over here, and I guess I'll show you guys unbolting this and then how much space it gives you. Okay, so we've undone the two bolts up here. They're 18 mils. They're not super tight, but now what we got to do is we have to get it to separate off of the body. So once you have it loose, the shock at the bottom is still going to provide a little bit of tension. So we need to come down here underneath, and we basically have to get the shock out of the spindle holding, which is going to be easier said than done for sure. So I need a persuasion stick like that. There we go. So now, if we look up here, this part should be loose enough for us. Oh no, it's still caught on. Oh, the bolt. Okay, so now we should be able to just unscrew the bolts, and you see the gap it's making up here now? So we're just gonna unthread the bolts all the way, well, not all the way. We're gonna take one bolt out. So these are the old bolts. So if you come over here, Darkside gives us new bolts. So these ones, so we have slightly longer ones. So you're gonna grab 2 of these, and we'll show you guys the lift spacers as well. So what we're gonna do is, because what's gonna happen is I can't remember what they call it, but the support bracket that holds the top of these struts is gonna lower down. So instead of having to use a jack to like lift it up and realign everything, we're just gonna do a cross, one on this side, one on that side, just fed in there so we have enough space to fit the other spacer on one side. So we're gonna put one of these new bolts back in here, and we're just gonna thread it in just a little bit. Well, I say a little bit, but I'm gonna thread it in there a decent amount. And then we're gonna undo the other side, basically all the way. And then we're gonna have to go to the other side and put the other one in as well, because we're gonna need it to come down far enough. So we'll undo this side as well.
You know what they say about big hands? Big gloves.
Okay, so I actually want this corner to come out all the way. Okay, so things are loose and wobbly. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the big one in just to keep everything in the correct general vicinity here. I only need one, but okay. What the fuck? Why is this not coming down anymore? That's definitely not. Okay. So they told me I could put these in without having to lower the subframe, but the bucket is resting on the subframe. Because that's where these go, is right here, and I'm not prepared to put the subframe drop in because I have to modify my exhaust if I do that.
California style.
Nope.
What do you call it? Squatter. Squatting.
It looks like I am gonna have to drop the subframe, which like whatever one thing after another with Volkswagens. So we've gone ahead and we've unbolted the rear and the front on both sides here. They're 21s, I believe. And these are loose. We've got them supported in the middle by both the jacks and everything. So this is gonna be a bit of a learning curve for me. So we'll figure it out as we go together. There's the rear bolt. And I'm gonna slap, same way I did with the struts. I'm gonna go ahead and slap one of the new bolts in here. At least I hope this is the same. I believe it is, just so we can get things guiding in together and whatnot. And I put you guys on the tripod behind the car, and then I'm just gonna mess around with it. I don't think that's quite low enough. One in here. I think it's the exhaust holding the car up now, so I guess I have to undo the exhaust cams. Oh yeah, that'll do. Oh, too far. Ugh. Okay, oh, I still gotta go lower, hey? Okay, so next fun little tidbit in the back here. The rears have these little spacers that the Touaregs in them don't have. So you gotta pop those off with a pry bar, and then you're pretty much good to go to slap those bad boys in there. So we're gonna try now. Didn't really want to fully dack it in. I didn't push it too hard. Okay, so now we're gonna put the strut spacers in, or I don't even know if you'd call these strut spacers, but the bracket spacers for the struts. And then we're gonna have to use the jack to get this set in here. Actually, I honestly could probably just thread this all up to get these to go up high enough, and then that should be good. Lots of alignment bullshit for sure about to go down. Okay, I'm just gonna go get the other side started so we can make sure things are aligned. All right, other side is all good. Finish getting these all snugged up. Let's go to the other side. See if we can't get the lower strut back in. I know the sway bar is gonna be nice and fun as well. Now the problem is, I don't know how I'm going to get this guy to go up high enough if I can't get the spring compressor to tighten enough. That's my next big issue. Okay, so apparently, according to the Volkswagen ELSA documents, which are the shop manual I will show here now, this is an official Volkswagen tool. This is a 2x4. We're going to use this to wedge in between here and the upper control arm in order to get the lower bolt back through. So we're gonna do that, and then I'll show you again on the other side with some actual proper lighting, so stand by. And we really hope that this 2x4 is strong enough and doesn't explode in my face.
We'll find out.
Yep, okie dokie.
Let me know when.
All right, give her shit there, bud. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, we're gonna make our lives a whole lot easier too.
WD-40.
Yep. All right, go again. Keep going. You're almost there, buddy. Holy shit.
The fuck? I literally have my knee up.
I think that did it though. Where's my big pry bar? Okay, I think we are aligned. So I did a little finagling with the jack. Get on.
Just a little.
Where's the persuasion staff? Don't know how to move. Bastard. It is through-ish. Oh, fuck. It's all right.
Oh,
are you okay?
That's the neon concrete.
You all right?
No.
My bad. Now we need to somehow get the sway bar in. Can you jack the jack up, please?
All right, spit on it.
Oh my god. Keep going. Yeah, you're gonna need to go a lot. Okay, stop for a sec. Hold on. Okay, you can lower it slowly. Okay, let me get out before you kill me. Okay, so on this side, I also did have spring compressors installed, but I don't really think it did that much, so I'm not gonna use them on the other side, and we're gonna see if we can do it. The old Volkswagen doohickey. That's what we're gonna call the 2x4 from now on, the Volkswagen doohickey. Air and a beer.
Respect that.
A clinical depression and a beer. God, I love the smell of WD-40. So amazing. Okay, slam that 2x4 in there. Get that pep off there, buddy. Have you seen the video of Jim Carrey walking into the supermarket and just picking up a slice of watermelon and just go... That video is so funny. All right, 2x4 man, get in there. And now I'm putting... Oh, okay, we're cooking fast on this one. Okay, hold on, I gotta do the maneuver here. Because now I have to figure out how I got it to come out of the other side. Nice.
Okay.
This is why it pays to have friends, ladies and gentlemen. I would be very careful. The flex on that fucking pry bar is pretty aggressive.
That's fair.
Get that bolt into its home, son.
Still like you to be able to thread it afterwards.
The salami
That
lid.
might work. At this point, I probably could just sit on the fucking board.
Okay, hold on. Don't go all the way. Because I got a sway bar I gotta get in.
I see. Okay.
Okay, Jacob off.
Relax for a second.
Okay.
Oh, that sway bar is under tension.
How badly did I bend my strut housing? Not bad at all. I just fucked up the paint.
It's cast.
Okay, so now, oh yeah, that cunt's gotta be backed out.
It's okay, we just go tappy-tappy.
Now tappy ain't gonna work. You're gonna have to use dappy.
Tappy was working.
Tappy.
100% working. Get my face in that. Okay, never mind.
Send her a little too fucking hard there, buddy.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Or you gotta get the 2x4 or something, I don't know.
Where,
Can we
okay.
get the sway bar to come down? Oh, hang on, let me... Jesus. Okay, now go.
When in doubt, Volkswagen fucking sway bar. Is it on?
Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah, right there.
Good. Don't move.
It did the thing. Owie! You know what? Send this home. Send her home all the way, and then it should probably come out. No, that made our situation...
Made it a lot worse.
Ow! Come on.
Oh, you're gonna wheel this thing hard enough, it's gonna damage it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What's happening, man?
I don't know what's happening. It's like...
You all know what time it is. Hey, baby. Ooh. Is there an 18mm nut?
Nut or...
Nut. Just gonna... Okay, first one that we're doing is the lower strut bolt. 90 Newton meters plus a quarter turn. Replace the bolts if you can. We're definitely doing that. Yeah, they're new bolts. What do you mean? Ah, the DAC goes more than 90 Newton meters. Okay, let's go quarter turn. Let's just guesstimate here. Yeah, it's probably quarter turn. Oh, I should probably do this when it's loaded, hey? Jacob, can you come put the jack under here? For somebody. Under here. Okay, jack it up. A little more. Yeah, that's probably good. Okay.
Torque the nut, not the bolt.
Torque the nut, not the bolt. I won't be able to get the fucking torque wrench in there. Okay, and then a quarter turn. So now we need to do these guys. So these ones and then the subframe bolts. 90 Newton meters plus a third turn? What the fuck? 1300. Okay, so there's 90 Newton meters on both, and now we're gonna go for a third turn. And we'll do the same on the other side. And now we're gonna figure out the subframe. Okay, subframe bolts are 120 Newton meters plus a 180, which is goddamn tight.
Yeah, also got me to do.
All right, we'll actually do a fucking proper 180 on these, I guess. If this snaps, I'm going to, oh my God, why is, no, I know I'm doing the 180. Oh. And then I'm gonna do the front one, but I'm not gonna show you guys because I gotta move the camera. And then we're gonna go back to the front and torque the front. Okay, so the next and final thing that we have to do on the Q7 before we go ahead and torque everything down, and I'll tell you guys about torque specs and whatnot, is we have to do the front subframe spacers, because I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to tell this close to the car, but right now we have a little bit of positive camber, like I'd say maybe 1 degree or less. Like if you look at the rear wheel from here, you can see it's negative, but in the front it's a little bit positive. And that's just because right now what we've done is we've pushed the strut down, which forces the lower control arm to basically always be at an angle like this, pushing the hub kind of like out, because we've spaced out the upper control arm by just like lowering the whole thing. And then the bottom, we haven't really done anything. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push the subframe down, which is naturally gonna correct the camber a little bit and then also give us better angle, because I don't know if you can see if the camera will adjust. This CV angle is pretty aggressive on the transmission side at the moment. And that's a good way to ruin your axles. So we're gonna fix that, and I'll show you guys how to do it. This is gonna be probably the easiest part because all we're doing is replacing 4 bolts, but we do have to get the car in the air so we can lower the suspension of the car, because it's all kind of attached to the subframe in the front, which, as you saw for the rear, was a little bit of a pain in the ass getting it all lined up, but it should be a little bit easier in the front. So let's get to it. All right, so I just yapped away for about 5 minutes without realizing my mic wasn't on. 21 mil to do this guy right here and this guy right here. And then we're gonna put a jack under the front cross member. I'm gonna put one under the rear. We're gonna put some more jack stands under here for safety, and then we're gonna unbolt one side to see what the length change in the bolts are. And then we're gonna put our new bolts, we're gonna thread them in so we can lower it down and kind of keep everything centered. And then we'll put the spacer in the front, and then in the rear, bolt it all up, and then we're done. So these bolts are pretty damn tight. So I've got them loosened and replaced on the driver's side already. So I'm just gonna show you guys, or the passenger side. I'm gonna show you guys the driver's side. It's always a good sign when you hear the jack creak. I don't know if you guys can see from there just how maxed out my camber adjustment is too. Pretty up there. Okay, I wonder if I can undo this by hand now. Yeah, here we go. So there's the front one. I'm just gonna sneak over and do the rear one. I'm gonna leave you guys there just because I don't want to have to keep moving the camera around constantly. That one. Okay, so the majority of the weight of the subframe now should be sitting on the jacks. So I'm gonna bring this down as slow as I can, because essentially we don't want to lower this really, really fast and force the subframe kind of out of its natural, or I shouldn't say natural, but the OEM alignment, because then we're gonna have to do the alignment again. Oh, my battery's gonna die, so I'll quickly swap that out. And I'll talk about the bolts here in a second as well, because we're gonna have 2 different length bolts, and I guess I can actually show you guys right now, because this one is coming out. 3 bolts for the subframe. This one is the one that's gonna replace the bolts. So I don't know if it was something that I've missed or I've like done something wrong here, or if I've used one of the replacement subframe bolts in the suspension or something somewhere, but this bolt is going to replace the front subframe, or the front subframe bolt. So you can see it's about 1 inch longer. So that's going to replace the one closest to the front of the vehicle. And then this bolt, the OEM one for the front, is going to replace the rear one, because as you can see, it's the same thread pitch and it's 1 inch longer. Now, I don't know if that was by design in the kit, or if I'm missing something, or if I'm missing the bolts to replace the rear ones, which should be about this long, which I don't think there were any other ones in the kit other than the ones that are on my suspension now for the lower control arm to the bottom of the strut to the lower control arm. So I don't know. I might swap things around and I'll tell you guys about that if I do. But there you go. So this is going in the front, this is going in the rear. We do have washers for all of them. And then that's it. So I'm going to undo the rear one now, and then we're gonna lower the subframe. And we're gonna put the spacers in nice and simple. Might actually leave that one in just to help with alignment. I'm gonna see if I can squeeze one in on the other side here. And that honestly might be enough to get the front ones in. So let's see. Almost. So close. So I'm gonna do this one up a little so that I can lower the back jack a little more. I should be able to get the passenger rear one in, I think. Okay, so there's one in the back rear. Let's try and do the front one on this side now, because it is definitely low enough. I'm just gonna spin this in a little bit. Now I'll show you guys this side. Hopefully it all is gonna let me line up now, because there's a little nub in the way, and I don't know if that's by design or what's going on there, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fit the spacer in here in a second, but we'll see. That's too high still. Okay, I'm gonna do the back rear actually first, I guess, because that doesn't want me to do that for whatever reason. Actually, I wonder if that's giving me enough. There we go. Let's see if I can get in here. Nope, I still can't because of that stupid fucking nub, because I can't get the spacer to go in far enough. Yep, I don't know. Very odd. Okay, 1 spacer, 2 spacer if you can see it, 3 spacer, 4. So I'm just gonna go ahead and snug the bolts up and kind of fiddle around with making sure things look aligned to the eye, so that hopefully I don't have to screw around with it with the wheels on. And then we'll look at the camber again and we'll do some measuring. Actually, I guess before I put the wheels on, we'll talk about all the torque specs you need to do for the front, because I did talk about the rear but not the front. So just gonna snug everything up. Now let's talk about torque specs. Next, I also took the upper ball joint nut off. So this is 85 Newton meters. This is a self-locking nut. These are also an always replace. I didn't replace mine, so I did 85 plus a little bit. I would definitely recommend replacing this one just because ball joints are not fun noises to chase and can be a really big pain in the ass. So replace this one if you can. If not, 85 Newton meters plus a little bit more will probably get the job done. Next, we have the lower strut bolt, which comes with these beautiful extensions. We'll talk about the extension torque spec in a second here. This guy is a always replace with the nut. It's 150 Newton meters plus a quarter turn. So 150 Newton meters for the bottom guy there plus a quarter turn. And then I think we already did talk about these 3 guys here. I'll put the torque specs on the screen for the small and the big one. And then that's it. That's pretty much all we took off for the suspension in the front. So let's do the torque spec for the subframe and get this guy on the ground and put some wheel spacers on and see how it sits, and hopefully we get our camber sorted out. 120 Newton meters, eh? Yeah, it usually helps to have the right socket there, right folks? Oh, we're gonna be here for a while, I think. Okay, there's 120 on that one. This one as well. Okay, then we'll do our 90 degree as well. Sorry, our 180. God, that's tight. Oh my God, I literally can't. There's the front too. I'm just gonna do the back too off camera because that's fun. Okay, we've also gone ahead and gotten ourselves some spacers because I know that the top of the tire is gonna be pretty damn close to the upper ball joint, and when I air down and stuff, I just don't want the rubber that's gonna fold potentially over a little bit to run into that and give me a little bit of peace of mind, and it's probably gonna make stance look a little bit better. These are only 7mm spacers, so they're not really gonna do much for us in terms of appearance, just kind of like a little bit of a safety net thing when the camber comes in a little bit more now that we've done the subframe drop. So we'll throw the wheel on and we'll put it on the ground. Let's see what the camber looks like. Oh yeah, definitely fixed our camber for sure. Hopefully on both sides. I don't really like the spacers that much. They do make the tire stick out quite a bit more. I don't know. It definitely does make me feel a lot safer with the upper ball joint though. So I don't really know. The camber definitely is a whole lot better though, which is nice. Mint. Okay, I gotta be kind of fast here because it's raining and I don't want to mess up my camera or my mic. But I have let the Q7 sit and I've driven it around for a couple weeks now just to see what the final level or the height of the lift is. So we'll measure the front first. So there we go, we're just below 37 inches in the front with the subframe spacer. And then in the rear, we are at about 37.5 inches, right up to the top of the fender. And it does definitely look a lot higher. So one thing I totally forgot to mention here is I did end up buying the Falcon Wild Peak AT4Ws in the process of doing the lift install. So that's why the Q7 is a little bit taller, because the tires had on at the beginning of this install were bald KO2s, and now I have brand new AT4Ws, so that's why it's a little bit taller than the advertised 50 millimeters or 2-inch lift. So there we go, lifted Q7 with the Darkside Overland Division lift kit. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more of the Q7 Overland content, like the rooftop tent that we do have installed now, we'll be making a video on that. But thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out. I will see you in the next video.